We grew up with nothing. I changed that, paid off their debts, built their dreams, gave them everything. When I went broke, they did the one thing I never thought they would. Hi, I'm Ethan, and this story is about how I learned that being the family's fixer can come at an unbearable cost. The common belief is that being indispensable makes you loved and appreciated. But I discovered that when you always fill the gaps, people stop seeing the gaps you're filling and start seeing you as just another resource to be used. I'm Ethan, a proof that some acts of selfless giving can inadvertently pave the way for deep isolation. Here's my story, and I hope you learn from it so you don't make the same mistakes, and remember that true support is a two-way street. Before we begin, please like, subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Let's all be internet friends. We counted slices. Bread, not cake, enough for 2 halves, not thirds. If one of us tore the soft part too thick, someone else went without. We split phone minutes like we were budgeting gold. Mom rationed them. 5 minutes to Dad if he was working out of state, 1 minute to say goodnight, no minutes to call back if someone hung up. I remember hiding a broken toy behind the couch so my little brother wouldn't cry. I told him it was gone. I let him blame me. That was easier than showing him a snapped-off wheel and saying it couldn't be fixed. My parents argued with their backs to us. Mom folded laundry louder when she was angry. Dad slammed drawers instead of doors. No one ever left the house, just the room. We slept 4 to a room. My sister used to wet the mattress from fear, not shame, fear. She thought something lived in the vents. I stayed up until she slept, then got up early so she didn't wake in a mess. I learned how to carry bags before I learned how to ask for help. I didn't wait to be told when something broke. I just started fixing. My brothers bickered, my sisters cried, my mother worked. My father disappeared into shifts that paid too little to keep us whole. And me, I took notes, I watched, I filled in blanks they never wrote down. When the faucet started leaking, my mom didn't call a plumber. She called my name. When the microwave sparked, she didn't check the warranty. She just stood in the doorway and said, "He'll figure something out." She meant me. I was 13 when the fridge gave out. The food inside went warm overnight. No backup plan, no savings, just her standing barefoot on the linoleum saying, "He'll figure something out." I biked to the appliance store after school, asked if they had anything used. They didn't. I checked the paper. Nothing. So I found a way to clean out the coils, reset the power, move things into a neighbor's freezer. It worked. Barely. She patted my back that night and handed me an extra piece of chicken. When the car stopped turning over, it was the same. She looked at me like she was checking a list. Oldest son, able-bodied, not in jail, that'll do. I started mowing lawns after school, $20 here, 15 there, I never kept it. Someone always needed something. My dad said, "You trying to play man of the house?" I didn't answer. He didn't ask again. Teachers praised my focus. Neighbors called me dependable. My siblings just called me when stuff went wrong. I didn't complain, not then. It felt like purpose. And when I saw her sigh in relief after each thing I fixed, I believed I was doing what I was supposed to do. The warehouse job wasn't much, but it was real. 12-hour shifts, 2 buses each way. I took it before I finished high school. Nights, weekends, holidays, anything they gave, I took. My first paycheck was $312, after taxes, after the union dues. I didn't cash it right away, just stared at the stub for a while like it was a trophy. When I handed it to my mom, she blinked 3 times and sat down. "Where'd you get this?" she asked. I told her I'd been working nights. "You didn't say anything." I didn't want to jinx it. She held it like it would disappear if she breathed too hard. Then she kissed my forehead. Not quick, not distracted, the kind of kiss she hadn't given me since I was 10. She said, "You don't have to give me this." But she folded it and put it in her purse. That same week, the lights stayed on. The phone didn't cut out. My little brother got new shoes. My sister didn't have to return her field trip form unsigned. I didn't buy myself anything. Didn't go out. Didn't tell my friends. I just kept going to work. The manager liked me, started giving me extra shifts. I said yes to all of them. At night, I lay in the dark and listened to the sound of nothing breaking. That silence felt like winning. The money didn't change things overnight, but it changed who they called first. My cousin's car broke down. I sent $500. My sister's tuition fell short. I wired the balance before she asked twice. My little brother wanted to join a music program. I paid the registration, the instrument rental, even the sheet music. My mom stopped saying he'll figure it out. She just handed me envelopes, medical bills, overdue notices, credit card minimums. I paid each one without a word. When the rent jumped, I covered the difference. When her car needed brakes, I booked the mechanic myself. No speeches, no announcements, I just handled it. Aunt Carlene called crying one night, something about foreclosure. I asked for the account number, paid what was needed, told her to call the bank in the morning. She called me a saint, they all did. He's so generous, they'd say when I wasn't in the room. He's got such a good heart, they'd whisper to my mother. It wasn't charity. It was reflex, like breathing. If I saw a gap, I filled it. No questions. I didn't buy a new phone, didn't take a vacation. Ate leftovers, worked weekends, stayed quiet. Every crisis had my number saved. Every bill had my fingerprints. Every holiday came with a few envelopes in my coat pocket, just in case. No one asked how I was doing. They just said thank you, and only sometimes. It was my youngest brother who said it first, at a birthday party. Plastic cups, folding chairs, one of those sheet cakes with too much frosting. He just opened a gift I bought, new headphones, the expensive kind. Everyone clapped. My mom smiled. My aunt nudged me and whispered, "You spoil them." I laughed it off, then he muttered it, low, just loud enough. "You always want to be seen." I didn't react right away, thought I misheard, but he was looking at me when he said it, eyes flat. I asked what he meant. He shrugged. Nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Later, my mom asked if I could help with her friend's mortgage paperwork, said she didn't trust anyone else. I said I'd take a look. As I stood up, my brother walked past me to grab another soda. He said, "You just love being the guy, huh?" I stopped. "I'm helping." "Right." No thank you, no eye contact, just that word, right. I drove home in silence, tried to forget it, thought maybe he was tired or jealous or drunk. But the line stayed with me. You always want to be seen. I remembered every time I gave quietly. Every time I declined credit, every time I paid the tab before anyone noticed it was missing. I didn't need applause, but something cracked. Not loud, just enough to feel. The whispers started slow. A cousin at a barbecue leaned into another and said, "He thinks he's better than us now." I wasn't close enough to call them on it, just close enough to hear. Another aunt, the one I paid rent for during the eviction scare, told my mom I seemed different. Said I dressed like I was above the neighborhood. I still wore sneakers from last year. My uncle asked what I did for work. I explained. Tech, product strategy. He nodded like I was lying. Said, "Must be nice sitting at a computer all day." I paid for his dental bill 6 months later. He didn't mention it. A family friend brought it up directly. They talk, say you move like a politician. All smooth, all control. I asked, control of what? She shrugged, just saying what I heard. I started noticing the looks. When I offered help, some nodded. Others flinched like it came with a receipt they didn't want to sign. The more I gave, the more they questioned why. The warmth faded. Gratitude gave way to suspicion, as if my consistency had a hidden clause they'd all missed. No one said it to my face, not directly, but the air shifted, like I wasn't one of them anymore, not because I left, because I didn't fall. My youngest sister stopped coming to me for advice. She used to call after class, send me photos of her resumes, ask what to say in interviews. I'd mark up her cover letters at midnight and send them back by morning. Then she stopped. I noticed when she took a job I hadn't heard about. I congratulated her over text. She replied, "Thanks." Nothing else. I called, she didn't pick up. Messaged her, "Wanna hop on a call this week?" She said, "I'm good. Just figuring stuff out." A week later, I saw a post of hers on LinkedIn thanking a friend for mentorship. Someone I'd never met. I brought it up casually at Mom's. She was eating rice, scrolling through her phone. I said she doesn't reach out much anymore. Mom said she's growing up, wants her space. Then added, "You get so corporate now. Maybe she thinks you don't relate." I asked her what that meant. She shrugged. "You work in tech. Fly out for meetings, wear those clean shoes." I looked down, white sneakers, clean because I don't drag my feet. She probably just wants to make her own way, Mom said. I nodded. I still paid her car insurance that month. Still auto-transferred her phone bill. Still kept the text thread pinned. But she didn't reach out, didn't ask, didn't thank, and I didn't stop. The email hit on a Thursday. Subject line, organizational restructure update. I read it 3 times before opening the attachment. My name was there, bolded, effective immediately. I stared at the screen, fingers still on the trackpad. The office around me moved, people packing up, HR reps pacing like nurses after bad news. I didn't move. Kareem called me that night. He didn't ask what happened, just said, "How long do we have?" I told him rent was covered for 3 months. After that, we'd see. I didn't call anyone else at first. Didn't want to make it real. Then the texts started stacking, overdue notices, auto drafts I'd forgotten to cancel, balances that didn't forgive. I pulled up my savings, calculated the timeline, barely 5 months. Then I thought of the names, people I'd floated, Debts I'd covered, accounts I kept breathing. I texted my brother, lost my job today, just giving you a heads up. No reply for hours, then damn, that's rough. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. I sent a message to my mom, no response. Sent another to my sister, read, no reply. I sat on the floor of my apartment back against the couch, not panicked, just suspended. Like I'd stepped off a ledge and hadn't hit the ground yet. The silence filled the room louder than any noise. I sent out texts to all of them. To the brother I co-signed for, just got laid off. Need a little help while I figure things out. To the cousin I covered rent for twice. If you've got 100 to spare, it'd help. To the aunt I helped through chemo payments. Things are tight, short term. I'll bounce back. The replies came in slow, measured, short. Man, that's tough. Sorry to hear. Hope it works out. No extra right now, but praying for you. The one that cut deepest came from the sister, whose phone bill I'd paid for 3 years. Or I wish I could help, but I'm stretched too. She added a heart emoji. I stared at it longer than I should have. Even Karim noticed. He said, "It's weird, you kept everybody afloat. Now they're all standing just far enough away not to catch you." I didn't answer, just nodded. I checked my mom's red receipts. Blue ticks, no response, not even a call back. I messaged her again, just 3 words. "Are you okay?" She replied an hour later, "You were doing too much anyway." That was it, no question, no check-in, no warmth, like the collapse was overdue, like it wasn't tragedy, just balance. I didn't reply. Just turned off my phone and let the screen go black. I sat across from my mom 2 days later. She was folding laundry on the couch, calm like nothing had shifted. I waited for her to bring it up. She didn't, so I did. "I lost everything," I said. She nodded once. "I figured." I asked if you were okay. She didn't look up. "You were doing too much anyway." I waited, she kept folding. "You moved too fast, tried to do everything, fix everybody. That's not how life works." I wasn't fixing, I was helping. "You made people depend on you." I stared at her. I didn't see anyone complain when the bills were paid. "They didn't ask for all that," she replied. "You chose to be the hero." It wasn't anger in her voice, it was finality, like she'd decided this version of me needed to end. "So that's it?" I asked. Now that I'm broke, I was doing too much. She placed a shirt on the pile. "Sometimes people give to be needed. Doesn't mean the need was love." I didn't speak, she moved to the next shirt. "We're fine, we all have our own things, you don't have to carry us." "I never had to," I said. "I just did." She shrugged, "Well, you can stop now." I stood up, she didn't. I walked out of the house I'd paid off. She didn't say thank you, she didn't say goodbye. I called my sister the next morning. The same one whose textbooks I bought, whose rent I floated through college, whose job reference I wrote. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey," I said, "can we talk?" She sounded rushed. "I've got a meeting in 10. This won't take long." She sighed, "What's up?" "I need a short-term loan, just for the month, nothing huge." Silence, then, "We all have our own problems right now." "It's temporary. I'm juggling bills too." "You're salaried." She didn't reply. I kept going. "I'm not asking for a gift, just help, the same kind I gave you." "You did that because you wanted to," she said. "I didn't force you." I let that sit. "Right," I said finally. "You didn't ask." "Exactly. But you accepted every time." Her voice sharpened. "Why are you throwing that in my face?" I'm not, I'm just, "You're making this weird." I laughed once. "Weird? You think because you gave before, now we owe you." I thought that's how family worked. "Don't guilt me, seriously." Then she hung up. I stared at the screen. Call ended, no callback. I didn't cry, didn't shake, didn't move. I just sat with it. The shift from savior to burden happened faster than I imagined, and quieter than I expected. The cookout was at Uncle Derek's. Plastic chairs, paper plates, the usual music on loop. I didn't want to go, but Karim said, "Sometimes showing up is the only way to hear what they won't say to your face." I stood by the grill, sipping warm soda, listening. My name floated in and out of conversations like background noise. Someone laughed, then I heard it. "You should have had a backup plan." I turned. Uncle Derek stood 5 feet away, holding a beer, talking to another uncle but looking straight at me. He didn't blink. The second uncle chuckled, then glanced at me nervous, said, "Man, he's just playing." Derek shrugged. "I'm just saying, can't be putting all your eggs in one basket. Tech crashes and now he's shocked, come on." I didn't answer. He stepped closer. "No offense, just facts." I nodded once, none taken. He smirked. You were flying too close to the sun, kid. Should have saved better. I looked at the cooler beside him. I'd bought it last year, along with the grill. He cracked open another beer with the opener I gave him for Christmas. I didn't point any of that out. I just walked back to the folding chair near the edge of the yard and sat down. No one followed. No one apologized. They all just went back to eating, like nothing had been said. Kareem met me in his garage that night. No music, no distractions, just the hum of a busted fan and 2 chairs pulled up to a fold-out table. I told him everything. The silence, the comments, the way they all looked at me now like I was a lesson, not a loss. He didn't interrupt. I said, I didn't ask them to worship me. I just didn't think they'd disappear. He nodded. They didn't disappear. They reverted. I asked what that meant. He leaned back. You became useful, then you stopped, so they did too. I stared at the stained concrete floor. He tapped the table twice. Let's build something. I blinked with what? Time, grit, quiet. The stuff you gave to everyone else. I don't have funding. We don't need it yet. I don't have a plan. We'll write it. I didn't speak, he added. Let's stop handing out lifeboats and start building our own damn ship. I looked up. He was already pulling out a notebook. We sat there for hours, scribbling, sketching, scrapping ideas as fast as they came. No seed money, no cosigners, just 2 men at a garage table running on bruises and belief. I didn't know what it would become, but for the first time in weeks I didn't feel alone. The first version barely worked. We coded until sunrise. Kareem handled the backend. I did UI with borrowed software. The app glitched every 10 minutes. Notifications sent twice. Links broke. One time it crashed a user's phone, but someone downloaded it, then another. By the end of the second week, we had 30 users. We didn't sleep, just fixed what broke and launched again. Kareem burned through 2 laptops. I pawned my watch to pay for server space. We pitched friends, begged for feedback, rewrote the interface 12 times in a month. One reviewer called it functional but ugly. Another said it doesn't do enough. But one person wrote, I've been waiting for something like this. We printed that review, taped it above the table. We skipped meals, missed birthdays, turned down every you should come out tonight text. I stopped checking my family's social media. Didn't need reminders of who went silent. Instead, I watched the user count grow. 5 per day, then 10, then 15, not explosive, not viral, but forward. Every day something worked that hadn't before. We kept our heads down. No press, no noise, just code, sleep, repeat. The app wasn't perfect, but it was ours. It started with an email. Subject line, are you free for a quick chat? The sender was an investor we'd cold pitched 6 months ago. Never replied. Now she wanted a meeting. We said yes. She called our build gritty, our traction organic, our story refreshingly quiet. We didn't oversell, just showed her the numbers. Real users, real engagement. No burn rate we couldn't cover. She asked for a follow-up. Then another investor reached out, then another. By the end of the month, we had 5 offers. 2 were insultingly low. 1 tried to buy the idea without us, but 2 were serious. We chose the one that promised to stay out of our way. The deal closed at $12 million. The headline hit local blogs first, then tech boards, then national outlets. Kareem and co-founder land $12 million seed to expand real-time community tools. They didn't use my last name right, twice, didn't matter. The phone lit up like I was famous. Emails, missed calls, mentions, but I didn't answer. I stayed in the garage. Same table, same chair, just cleaner code and better sleep. Kareem asked if I wanted to call them the ones who vanished. I said no. He said, they'll call you. I nodded. Let them. The first message came from my mom, just a link to the article. No caption, no question, nothing. An hour later, my sister texted, so proud of you, we should catch up soon. Then my brother saw the news. Knew you'd bounce back. The emojis were loud. Fire, claps, hearts. I scrolled past them. Cousins I hadn't heard from in 2 years suddenly remembered my number. One asked how I was. Another wanted to hear the full story sometime. An aunt sent a voice note calling me our golden boy. I didn't reply to any of it. Kareem glanced at my phone lighting up on the table. Told you, he said. I picked it up, checked the notifications, set it back down. They're acting like nothing happened, I said. He shook his head. That's how it works. Disappear when you're bleeding, applaud when you shine. A second message came from my sister. Brunch soon, just us. Then my mom again. Come by for dinner, made your favorite. I stared at the screen. None of them had mentioned the silence. The hang-ups, the cold shoulders, just warmth now, manufactured, convenient. Kareem asked, you going? I said, yeah. He raised an eyebrow. I added, not for them, for me. The restaurant was mid-range, not flashy. Neutral lighting, booths, nothing expensive. I wore an old hoodie, no watch, no logo. Just clean. My mom hugged me like the last time didn't happen. My sister kissed my cheek like she hadn't ghosted me. My brother clapped my back too hard and said, "Man, you look good." We sat, menus opened. My mom said, "We're just so glad you're back." I smiled. I never left. My sister laughed like I'd made a joke. My brother said, "We knew you'd bounce back, you always do." No one mentioned the calls I made that went unanswered. The messages they read and left, the help I asked for and never got. They talked about the article, asked about the office, tossed out ideas for apps I should make next. My brother pitched one about renting out yard space for cookouts. My sister said she wanted to help with branding. I listened. They never asked how I got through it, never asked who kept the lights on when the lights went out. My mom said, "You're the example now. We tell people he made it." I nodded. I stirred my drink. They smiled like everything was fine, like nothing broke. I let them until the check came. Then I spoke. The check landed between us, folded. No total printed on top, just a leather sleeve and silence. My mom reached for her purse. My sister waved her off. My brother said, "Nah, he's got it." I didn't move, then I said it, quiet, even. "You should have had a backup plan." My sister blinked. "What?" "You said that," I replied, "after I lost my job." My brother shifted in his seat. "Nobody meant that literally." I kept going. "And you, when I asked for help, you said you had your own problems." My mom opened her mouth. I turned to her. "And you told me I did too much, that the help wasn't love, just need." No one spoke. I slid the check across the table. "I'm not here for revenge," I said, "but I'm not paying for this meal." They stared. I stood. "You wanted me when I was useful. You clapped when it cost you nothing. You disappeared when I needed a fraction of what I gave." My brother muttered something I didn't catch. I looked him in the eye. "You once said I only helped so I'd be seen. Now you're looking, so look." Then I left the booth, walked past the hostess and stepped into the cold. No one followed. No one called after me. I didn't look back. Kareem was already at the office, hoodie on, laptop open, coffee half drunk. He didn't ask how the lunch went, just slid a folder across the table. "Marketing deck's done," he said, "and we got a call from Vantage Capital. They want to talk Monday." I nodded and took the seat across from him. The office wasn't big, a converted warehouse with peeling paint and old wiring, but the walls held our names. The table was ours. Every bolt, every chair, every win had our fingerprints on it. I opened my notebook. Wrote one word at the top of the page. Legacy, not a gift, not something handed down or borrowed or begged for. Mine, built from dust and betrayal, patched with silence, held together by one friend who never flinched. Kareem leaned back in his chair. "We good." I nodded. We didn't need champagne, or press, or applause, just the next step, the next version, the next door to kick open. We started typing again, screens glowing, fingers moving. The same way we always did. Quiet, relentless, no more floor mattresses, no more begging, no more proving, just building. Thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. One love.